Well, hey ho everybody. Welcome back to the Square the Circle Music Channel. It's me, your host, your pal, Aaron Major. Here at the Square the Circle Music Channel, we like to talk about things that are circle and square and all things shimmery and shiny. And yeah, we're talking about record collecting and we're talking about, music appreciation, all kinds of dorky shit. So stick around, come along on the ride. Yeah, the fire is warm, sit down, crack a cold one. Listen to your old pal Mage spin a tale. Mondays, I like to talk about all that fun shit. You guessed it. I like to talk about my thrift store finds and all the junk store gems that I got. Maybe not gems to you guys, but they sure are to me. So I love getting stuff for under $3, bits and pieces here and there. When I can find it, I try not to ever spend any more than probably like 20 or $30 when I go. A lot of times I manage, I manage to do that, but not all the time. But fun week, lots of cool finds. So welcome back to Tales from the Thrift, starring yours truly, Aaron Major. What should we talk about first? Let's talk about all of the compact discs I found. CD finds, I'm going to put this in the headline too, but in here is included a holy grail, a personal holy grail of mine. So we'll get to that. But this episode includes 2 holy grails, so pretty excited to talk about those too. First find on my CDs, I've been finding lots of awesome like 90s, classic like early 90s like alt rock and stuff like that, and I've just been buying that shit up a lot because it feels good to have these pieces in my collection again. It makes me feel like a kid again. I love it. And I had just talked about one of these that I found, their earlier album from like 91 or 92, but this is like 93, 94, the Cranberries, the No Need to Argue album. I had already talked about everyone else is doing it, so why can't we, or whatever. But I love these Irish rockers, Irish alt rockers, the Cranberries. And this was their big one. This was, the track Zombie and a few others that were pretty damn big, all over the radio, kind of still are. So yeah, this will bring back some good memories. And what I'm not fully intending to do with like buying all these like 90s, CD hits that I'll really probably only listen to once or twice, but my intention is to kind of like pass these down to my kids. This is great music that I think, my 12-year-old daughter will love, so I'm trying to get my 12-year-old daughter like really introduced to like some great alternative music of the 90s. I think she'll really like it. So that's one for Ruby. Love you, sweetie. Here's another one for the kids, but it's everyone's kind of soft spot and everyone's kind of like guilty pleasure, especially if you were a young person, like 70s, 80s, 90s. Every time I run across a clean copy of something by him, I have to have it. And I love this packaging, and I love that it's just a greatest hits album. So I don't have to like, fuss trying to get like all of his albums from the 80s and stuff, and every little bit and piece of it that I love. So it's just a Michael Jackson greatest hits, really simplistic, which I like. It's not just like a big overbearing like double disc with stupid shit that I don't need, a bunch of extra tracks that I don't really care much about, from his like middle and later career in the 90s. But it's like this really interesting kind of like pull open, and then it just pops into an envelope and the CD comes out, and this little like jacket here, it doesn't come out, and so it's just kind of like a little, and then it like just kind of like fits itself. It's kind of neat. But it's got the big ones, 18 tracks of just like the biggest shit, from basically from Off the Wall, the 2 hits off of Off the Wall, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, and Rock With You. And then that's, all the way through the early 90s with the Dangerous album. So that'll be one for my kids too. I'll spin it on a sunny day. My kids love Michael Jackson. I love Michael Jackson. So it is what it is. Guilty pleasure, big guilty pleasure for me. Here's another sweet find, because I've only ever had like a burnt, when like the early 2000s to mid 2000s rolled around, and then suddenly the internet is just like, hey everybody, here's a bunch of free music, whether it was moral or scrupulous or whatever happens. A lot of us kids I guess we weren't kids, we were well into adulthood, and we were just kind of like, whatever, we'll just download this shit for free. And you ended up with just like mountains and mountains of just awesome bands and tons of music that you didn't even have time to ingest, didn't even have time to like take seriously or really enjoy. And unfortunately for me, that was a real gray period in my collecting and appreciating of music. And also I was a young adult and a bit of a free spirit, if you know what I mean. A bit of a free spirit, wasn't really focusing on my love for listening and enjoying music at that point in time in my life. I was doing other things, but I was making the music, man. I was making the music. So yeah, what was I gonna say? Anyway, this comes from one of that period in my personal life when I just had a mountain of stuff that was just piling up, and I was just like, I gotta listen to all this crap, and I just had a burnt CD of it, but I enjoy the shit out of it. I love it dearly, and I'm stoked to have like a real cool hard copy of it. But this is that magnificent duo, Rodrigo y Gabriela, the virtuoso dynamic duo of Spanish guitar, I guess you could call it. They're Mexican, but killer players. I'm not sure if they're related, but I've never done a real like deep dive into who they are and what they do. I mean, besides I know of their music and I love the shit out of it, and just the way they, it's just rocking, Spanish hardcore, fucking acoustic guitar slaughtering. And Gabriela, the lady of the two, she just is the one that does all the percussive hitting and just slapping on the body. She's the one that's always like slapping on the body of the guitar and just playing all that killer like triplet just craziness on the acoustic guitar, whilst Rodrigo is the one who's playing all the melody. And they cover Metallica tunes, they do all kinds of great shit. So it's just so energetic and so beautiful. I love the shit out of Rodrigo y Gabriela. And this one happens to be one of those great ones that they started putting out like in the late 90s, early 2000s, where it includes a DVD of the live performance as well as the audio tracks. So it's a twofer, kind of neat. So I'll get to sit down and watch that live show too. It's a fucking $1, dude. Clean as a whistle. Man, I love this shit. I mean, I know it's on the internet. Who the fuck cares? But like, I like having a physical piece of media that I can like sit down, put it in the player and focus on that one thing. Wherein if you're just going to look stuff up on YouTube, live performances, and watch a whole live performance on YouTube, it's just not going to be the same thing. You're not going to feel as immersed. There's going to be constant interjections of, bullshit pop-ups and all kinds of stupid stuff going on. So anyway, you guys don't need to hear me preach about, the glories of collecting real tangible media. That's why we're here. That's what we love. That's what we're doing, right? Next on the list, another one, a great CD find that is in pristine condition, super lucky find for $1. Another one of those that it'll eventually, I intended this to be like a hand-me-down for my kids, stuff that I want them to get into. Again, like I was speaking about that, just a lot of alt rock from the 90s, Cranberries or whatever. Here's another one of those alt rock bands from the 90s, kind of borderline punk rock bands that I want. My daughter has already like tiptoed into this realm, and she's like, Dad, you ever listen to Green Day, Dad? I'm like, you fucking kidding me? I was washed in Green Day. Washed in Green Day's blood very early on, almost when I was as young as she is now. I discovered Green Day in 1994, and I had Kerplunk and Dookie, and, that was my full-on introduction to the world of, punk and skate rock and pop punk. But whatever, and my daughter's showing a lot of interest in it too, and I'm like, okay, I'm not familiar with this album at all. So I need to get familiarized with it. I know the radio hits, I walk the lonely road, or, that one. And of course the title track, don't wanna be an American, and but this is like a rock opera, I guess. I don't know anything about it. So there's a fuck ton of music on here. So I guess I better give it a shot. I've never listened to Green Day's American Idiot. When was this, 2004? Yeah, 2004, again, like that period in my life where I was just like, boo, I'm checked out of reality, guys. I don't know what the fuck Green Day's doing. Don't care. Don't fucking care. Whatever. But 2004 was another great year. Actually, this was the same year that this came out. Anyone that got married between the years of 2005 and 2010, namely a guy like me, this was in everybody's wedding, for sure, as part of the wedding music, or maybe just background music or whatever. But I fucking love Iron and Wine. One of those fantastic sub pop. Another kind of solo slash duo group. It's like him and his, I mean, doesn't his wife play on this a whole bunch too? But anyway, incredible musician and singer-songwriter, Sam something. I don't remember his name. But yeah, the group called Iron and Wine. Everybody check it out. It's magnificent. Just really laid back, folky, Americana, kind of, I wouldn't say spiritual, but kind of, it has gospel influences and you know, spiritual music influences, but it's very earthy and very, you know, I don't know. It's really fucking great. Our Endless and Numbered Days, is that what it's called? Our Endless and Numbered Days. Came out in late 2004. So this one was kind of like worshipped by, you know, indie kids for the last like 15 years. Arguably probably their best, some would say their best album, but they have a lot of music, so I'm not going to pretend to even be familiar with any of it. Honestly, I'm only really familiar with like a couple, like the EP he put out before this, which was like the, what do they call it? The something Queen, has some sort of king or queen connotation. I can't remember, but the, that EP they put out, then this, they put out a double album sometime in and around this album. But yeah, they're pretty fucking great. So everyone check out Iron and Wine. I'm stoked to find it. And it's another one of those, it's like a dual album. I never, you know, I burnt this off the internet, you know, so I never had a physical copy. They never got my money. Sorry, guys. So I have a legit copy now, but bought from a junk store, but it has a second disc. It has like like a small EP that was like kind of put out with it. So yeah, lots of music to check out for $1. Love it. Okay, here it is, guys. Here's the grail I was telling you about. This is one of my grails that I wanted to talk about tonight, and this is huge to find this solely like for $1 in the wild. It's huge to me, at least, because I worshipped this when I was a kid. My mother bought this and taught me of the ways of this, and you know, I can credit my mother for getting me into like symphonic music and you know, orchestrated music. And of course, in my family, and when I was a kid growing up in the 80s, who's the king of symphonic music? But of course, John Williams. And we had this collection of John Williams classic themes throughout his film composition history, but it's specifically films that he was teamed up with Steven Spielberg for. So the most famous and epic. And I know what you're thinking, oh, Star Wars and blah, blah, blah. No, actually, Steven Spielberg was not involved in Star Wars whatsoever. Well, I mean, I'm sure he probably was in and around the area and the scene and whatever, but he wasn't a director, producer, anything like that for Star Wars. So of course this has no Star Wars music, but it has Indiana Jones music. It has fucking the E.T. theme. It has Close Encounters of a Third Kind. It has Jaws. It has Empire of the Sun, the movie Always. Yeah, dude, tons and tons of music, and it's all just absolutely just legendary, iconic, you know, film music, and it's just the best. I've even talked about this recently, a couple tunes off of this. Dude, every time I hear the fucking E.T. theme, it's like a 9 or 10 minute version of like the entire like end scene when E.T. gets lost and he's dying and Elliot's like riding his bike. E.T., where are you? And E.T.'s like dead in the gutter, drank too much the night before, fucking did a bunch of smack, and he's like white and gonna die, and it's fucking crazy. That shit was so intense as a child, and it changed my life. And the music, especially so. The music is so gorgeous and grand in scope. Like even to today, when I listen to that theme from E.T., when his friends come back to find him and they find him, and E.T. finally like gets to launch up in the spaceship and da 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 bum bum bum, fucking titillating, and every single hair on the back of my neck right now is standing up just thinking of that theme. That's what John Williams does. He's pretty fucking amazing. And of course, Steven Spielberg and all of his fantastic film and imagery. So bless the shit out of both of these humans for every piece of magic that they gave the world, still giving the world, still. Like, they're both still alive. John Williams is still conducting. He's fucking like 98 years old or some shit, and he's still conducting. And probably just wrote something like yesterday. The guy has like 700 film credits to his name. Who knows? Something like that. So there's one of my grails, guys. I haven't had this for decades, since my mother gave it to me when I was like 18 years old. So I'm just like almost in tears, just happy to have this in my collection again. So, okay, there's all the CDs, guys. Let's just move along here. I'm just getting so talkative about all this stuff. Here's my tapes. I didn't find a ton of great tapes. I haven't, tapes, dude, tapes have been rough lately. People are, you know, really soaking up the affordability and the compact nature of cassette tapes, the nostalgic, you know, wonderful feeling we get from it. Cassettes are awesome. So yeah, they really don't sound magnificent, but especially the ones you buy, you know, in the dollar bin. But a lot of times it's fun. I especially love taking a little mini boom box that I bought for my son, and he and I, you know, he's 8 and he loves collecting cassette tapes, and he has his own, I bought him his own little tape case, like a little briefcase, and we take that and a little boom box down to the river in the summertime when, or even now, we went this weekend, and we just some D batteries, and we head down there with our sandwiches, and we just listen to fucking tapes all day. My son loves it. So I buy tapes a lot. These are a couple dork music tapes that I buy a ton of because I want to subject my kids to this too, rather than just pop music. So we listen to a lot of Shadowfax, dude. Shadowfax is great. And you can come across these tapes all the time. 20 cents a piece. I can't remember what the name of this album is. I think this was their first their first self-titled, not their first album, but their first self-titled album on the Windham Hill label. Or was this on ECM? I think I just talked about that. This was on ECM, I believe, rather than Windham Hill for their first self-titled release. I don't know. I'm wrong about that. Who cares? And another one from Windham Hill, and they look the same. So it's got to be Windham Hill. This is that sampler. I collect all the samplers from Windham Hill because I think the music's fantastic. This is the 1982 sampler. So this has like Michael Hedges, and it has like, you know, tons of George Whitson and William Ackerman, of course, but a lot of other great names. Some more Shadowfax and Alex DeGrassi and all that. So believe it or not, this is really fun to have down by the river when everyone else is just like blasting BTO and Poison and fucking, you know, Kendrick Lamar and whatever else is happening. Like, and you have your own little spot at the river, and you're just like throwing stones in the river and just like jamming to Shadowfax and shit. It's perfect. It's perfect. But of course, you have to have equal parts of dad rock / butt rock / you know, just whatever. It brings back good memories of my childhood. So everyone loves a little bit of Foreigner. I got a Foreigner tape for $0.25. I gotta have it. It's got, you know, what is that one that's super famous? I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me. Yeah, it's got that on there. And fucking, you know, immortal Bryan Adams, of course. His Reckless album, and I also got Cuts Like a Knife. I'll spin the shit out of these in the old boom box with my son down by the river for a few days, and then I'll pass these off to my boss, El Jefe. He loves Bryan Adams. All right, them's my tapes. Lots of fun, guys. So thanks again for joining me. You know, while you're here, check out some of my other, you know, footage that I've shot on my channel, some of my videos and shit. It's fun. Like and subscribe. Help me get to my 500 subscriber mark in the next 3 days. Just kidding. Who cares? You know, the fun part about this, and I want to mention this part now too, is that I want to, you know, thank you guys, and I'm grateful to you guys for like being kind and supportive and chit-chatting with me about music, and it's been a lot of fun. I have doubled my subscribership ever since I started this kind of like little faux contest or whatever. It was a real contest. It's going to happen, guys. I'm drawing names. I'm not I'm not just blowing the whole thing off. I'm just saying I didn't hit my 500 subscriber mark, and I'm sure not going to, but I still had, you know, a little bit of a mini milestone. So just wanted to mention my mini milestone, and I got like 100 likes. I'm a stupid little, you know, mini milestone, like I said, but you know, when you've put a video out and like 100 people have been like, fuck yeah, dude, cool video. That's fun. It makes me feel good. So thank you everybody for 100 likes on one of my first videos. I believe it was the, you know, 10 favorite or like underrated / what do I do? Those stupid videos, underrated / lesser known prog videos. So thanks for the 100 likes, guys. You guys are great. Okay, well, there's my spiel. So let's go back to talking about music. I'll show you all the cool vinyl that I found. Lots of cool vinyl. And then I'll get into another holy grail. The grail. One of my personal huge holy grails at the very end. So stick around for it. This was a really fucking great find. And of course, immaculate Motown, classic Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. Really cool. I've been talking about how I need to kind of like beef up my soul and blues and funk and all that kind of stuff. I need to beef up that collection and my knowledge. I just need to listen to more of it. Not that I don't appreciate it. I do appreciate it and love the shit out of a lot of it. I just don't know anything about it. And it's just never been a cornerstone part of my collection like other things have been. So of course I know of Marvin Gaye, give me a break everybody, but I've never seen like this duet album of like classic Motown, celebrating Motown's, what is it, 20th anniversary. Wow. So this must have been 80. Yeah, pretty cool. Stoked to give that one a bunch of time on the table. And of course some more classic soul, group called the Spinners. Wicked cool. Classic retro 60s soul, I'm assuming 70s, early 70s soul. Includes the million sellers I'll Be Around, and it could it be I'm Falling in Love? How could it be I'm falling in love? Yeah, I know that song. So yeah, really excited to give this a bunch of time on the table. Classic Atlanta label. It is really friggin' clean. Stoked about this one. Yeah, the Spinners. Gonna get familiarized with the classics, guys. This one I know of course, Lip Sync. Take you to Funky Town. Yep, it's got Funky Town on it. And I just love this cool, like, immortal art. This is the shit that I was seeing all the time when I was growing up, just everywhere. This poster on kids' walls and stuff. Pardon me while I vomit. Yeah, this will be a fun spin around the house. My kids will love it. My kids like to dance. I like to dance. Everyone likes to dance. Great dance music. So, clean as a whistle on the Casablanca label. Don't know of anything else on the Casablanca label except for Kiss. I'm trying to think. But yeah. Oh, what went down my throat? Yeah. Sorry, everybody. I'm back. I'm not dying. I always talk about this because I keep finding great clean copies of CCR records. I can't believe it. I'm not shitting you guys. In the dollar bin. I mean, they're not $1 anymore, obviously. Records like $2 and $3 most places you go. But even still, that's a great price to pay for a pretty effing clean, you know, not bad. Lots of wear, but no splits, no, you know, nothing's falling apart. And it's got the original insert. Cool. I mean, I wouldn't say insert, it's just the inner sleeve, really. The wax is not bad. I haven't spun it through the clean machine yet. You can see those fingerprint smudges there, but no real bad, like, you know, just hairline paper scuffs. Got super lucky. Fantasy Blue Label. Cosmos Factory. Classic CCR. Yeah, dude. Been finding some CCR lately. Stoked about it. Lots of cool classic shit. Some Pete Townsend today. Just today, this afternoon, found this double disc. Pete Townsend's album. What's it called? Scoop. Never listened to it. But, you know, I know a little bit about Townsend. And, of course, I love, you know, everything that he did in The Who. And I don't know when he put this out. If this was completely post Who, after they had completely called it quits. Didn't they call it quits like in the mid-80s? 85 or something like that? I'm not sure. So this was in 83. When did they put out that like their famous 80s album? What's it called? It's got like green neon and the overhead photograph of them. I can't remember when they put that out, but this must have been intermittent to all that, and it's really, really cool. Great piece of art. Can't wait to get familiar with this. Yeah, 1983's Scoop for Pete Townsend. It's in magnificent condition. It's got both the original inner sleeves and Fucking scored. Cheap vinyl. I love it. I only really know a few radio hits by these guys, but I just bought it because it's like totally worth $2, getting some spins and kind of maybe a couple chuckles. This is really not my style of music, but maybe I'll be surprised. You know, UB40. This album's called, what is it? Jeffrey Morgan? Jeffrey Morgan by UB40. Probably, yeah, 1984. Pretty cool. It's fucking clean. Original insert. It's hip shit. So, $2. A&M Records, 1984, UB40. Hooray for me. Another one I don't know anything about. Looks awesome. Big Twist and the Mellow Fellows. Big Twist and the Mellow Fellows on the Flying Fish. I mean, that's why I picked it up. I saw the Flying Fish label. I was like, oh, I know tons of, you know, shit off Flying Fish that I love to death. So, yeah. Clean as a whistle. Pretty cool. I'm assuming, judging by the cover, it's going to be some killer fucking blues, funk, soul. Yeah. Big Twist and the Mellow Fellows. Someone's getting a little heavy on the jack. Slow down on the jack, boys. All right. Classic rock. I don't know a ton about classic rock, so I've got some learning to do. I need to get into it. And I know there's so many parts of it and aspects that I do love and cherish, but I'm just not familiar with a ton of it. It's a Three Dog Night album called One. I looked at the credits and initially read that the title track of the album first, and it's written by Harry Nilsson. So I was like, okay, fuck yeah, Harry Nilsson. Love the shit out of him. And of course, he was doing a ton of songwriting for not early 60s groups, but all throughout the 60s. For pop artists and, you know, rock artists. So yeah, pretty sweet. But I love the fucking art on the back, just the photography, psychedelic. Don't know any other songs on this album. It's got the original inner sleeve. Pretty cool. Three Dog Night, One. In damn fine condition. Little bit of a split there, and I can take care of that with a little bit of Scotch tape. I know very little about this group as well. I know of their, you know, monster smash hit of the 80s, My Sharona, but everything else about the Knack, I don't know anything about the Knack. So this one's called But the Little Girls Understand. And I don't know, it just looked interesting, and these guys are cool as hell. Always have been. I love that song, My Sharona. Original inner and everything, but the thing that really caught my eye, which I really was fascinated by, is I've never seen anyone do like a pink capital label, like that black and pink capital label, and it's in magnificent condition, all of it. And it's just, that's beautiful. So, you know, punk sensible, right? Kind of pop punk sensibility of the early 80s. My Sharona. This will be 1981, maybe? Yeah, I haven't found the release date on this yet, but I shall research it. Someone in the comments will say it. Sure. Pretty cool. The Knack. Getting down to the last few here, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Every time I come across some old 70s Randy Newman, I buy it. Little Criminals is like one of his most celebrated albums, I believe. But yeah, not the hugest fan. A lot of it's kind of, you know, tongue-in-cheek for me. You can definitely take it or leave it on most days, but there's inevitable charm in there. There always has been, there always will be. He's a charming motherfucker. No doubt he can write a couple of tunes, right? Celebrated as he is by a lot of people, but I've taken this one for a drive more than anything else I have of his, but yeah, I'll keep it around for a while. Another group that I don't know a ton about, this is, to me, like epitomizes dad rock for me, because my dad loves this band. And always has, and this has kind of just always been around, but this is like one of their most, you know, recognized and truly legendary albums, a double double disc, the Chicago Transit Authority. And it has both discs, and they're both just like magnificent condition. Pretty cool. So I'll definitely be learning what this is all about in the next week or two. Yeah, a little bit of water damage there. Not bad. You can't even really see. There it is. Yeah. Someone left it in a puddle of beer accidentally one afternoon, but so what? It's still solid. Perfect spine. Yeah, pretty cool. Someone's had a lot of fun with that in the past, I'm sure. Here's another fun one. I'll have to do some deep research on. Looks to be just kind of like fun, no wave, new wave, post-punk kind of stuff called Squeeze. Don't know anything about it. Argy Bargy. What's the name of the album? Argy Bargy. Looked to be probably about 83, probably 84. Yeah, A&M Records. Oh, sorry. Smack dab on 1980. Yeah. Everyone loves that. Intriguing, cool, new wave stuff that was, you know, punk infused, but it's got the original in her and everything. Pretty cool. Someone wrote their name on the label. There's a pretty big hole in it, but whatever. The wax is in great shape. That'll be fun. This one was really excited about. This was the best find so far this week at the junk store, because I've listened to some Taj Mahal in my day. I think Taj Mahal is the shit. But yeah, the Giant Step double disc. See, they even called a second disc by a different name, don't they? It's got a kind of a different, it's basically a different album. The Old Folks at Home is what it's called. Tons of music, tons of soul, tons of flavor. You know, this is just like back porch summer time, sitting on the porch music. Like, I love the shit out of this. Foot stomping, bluesy, Delta blues basically, isn't it? Mixed with a lot of like folk and Americana, and country roots. Love me some Taj Mahal. Pretty fucking cool. Really solid copy at the junk store for $2. I win. I win. Pretty sweet. Look at that cowboy. Rainbow behind him. Love it. Hooray for Taj Mahal. Okay, guys, here's my grail. Nothing super duper crazy grail about it, because I didn't find this technically like in the deep wild. I wasn't in the deep woods. This wasn't a bargain bin find, but needless to say, this is something that has been on my want list. That's why I consider it to be a personal holy grail. It's just been on my want list forever, and I fucking hate just like chronically finding myself on Discogs just to acquiesce. You know what I mean? Like, I need to stop. Well, there has been periods in time when I've done that in the distant past, but if I want something bad enough, it'll come to me. And I'm not, you know, I'm not saying that I sit there and like light candles in a pentagram and just kind of like try to conjure these albums, you know, to pop up in my local record stores, but just like, I want things to kind of come by happenstance and organically. And this is just a classic album that everyone should have in their collection, that I've always wanted in my collection for more than 5 years. It's been on my want list. And it just so happens that one of my favorite local stores, they bought up a recent reissue of it. I don't know how recent it is. I'll have to look into it. Probably only about 5 or 6 years old. But you can't find copies of this totally naturally in the wild unless you want to pay, no kidding, like, you know, $500, $600, $700 or more dollars. So needless to say, they are incredibly rare. So even finding a reissue of these, they don't come into your record stores. It's so weird that she had there. So Allie, thank you very much, from Moonrock Records in Eugene, Oregon on 11th Avenue. Thank you for having this in your store that I could just walk in and buy. So finally have a copy of Nick Drake's Pink Moon. Yeah, like I said, it's a reissue, but originally released in 1972 on the Island label. This thing, if you want even an 80s reissue, it's going to cost you $1,000. It's crazy, but it's so fucking good. Anyone that hasn't ever listened to it. You know, funny, it reminds me a ton of that group I was talking about earlier in this little video. That CD I bought from that group, Iron and Wine. He really reminds me a lot of what Sam What's His Bucket from Iron and Wine, what he was doing in the early 70s. Pretty amazing, mellowed out, folk, just Americana folk. Actually, I think, isn't Nick Drake English? Forgive me, everybody. I've never done a deep dive on him personally. I think he might be English, though. But yeah, this album just, classic folk, not folk rock, just like really mellow, awesome, heartsy, full of heart, folk music from the early 70s. So tinges of like almost kind of, I don't want to say psychedelia, but it's just off the beaten path. It's not your classic folksy, 60s folk. It's not 60s folk, it's 70s folk. So it has just an air of just a little bit more depth of feeling and spirituality to it than the kind of standard stuff you were hearing out of the mid to late 60s Paul Simon and whatever else, the Bob Dylan's and all those people of the classic kind of American folky movement. This doesn't feel like American folk movement into the 70s. Like, it doesn't sing like Neil Young. It's something that's way more, deeply inspired and introspective and cool. So everybody check out, Nick Drake, Pink Moon. Originally from 1972. I think you can find reissues of this online places for maybe $45 to $55 or something like that. So I walked into my local record store today and just bought it. It was fucking great. Made me feel so good. Thanks again, Allie. Moon Rock Records, Eugene, Oregon. So that's my Grail, guys. Finally in my collection. All right, maybe I'll see you again later on this week. I've got a few episodes in the pipeline, so maybe I'll muster it up and crank out a big fat piece of shit for all you guys to watch and consume. Just kidding, everybody. I love you all. Peace be with you. Keep them clean, nerds. See you around.